Peace, appreciation, and abundance, ladies and gentlemen. Peace, appreciation, and abundance. Y'all already know what time it is. This your boy AS3, and I'm back with another episode of Talk About It TV, man. It's been a little minute, so I'm back, but got something to say. I gotta say it, and but this is gonna be about some random topics, or at least some topics that I feel that need to be discussed about. Only got something to say when I got something to say, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Without further ado, we're gonna lock into Dan Calloway's channel live right now, what he got going on, because he got some stuff up there that people need to be in tune with. So we're gonna lock in with him for a minute and then proceed into this Diddy shit. And I know people tired of seeing it and maybe talking about it, but I just gotta give my piece on it, my little small piece on it. And let's get into it, y'all. So
and brought over to another landmass.
So who are the blacks in America? Who are the black people in America?
The blacks in America have been living here ever since. They are aboriginals. The blacks in America have been living here.
Y'all heard that?
They are aboriginals. They are aboriginals. They are aboriginals.
I heard what was just said.
Let's go to this Easter egg clip from one of my latest videos called Why American History Differs in Other Countries. At about right here, at this point of the video, the viewer's attention is focused on a picture of a copper-colored middle-aged man that appears to be dressed as a sailor, being as though we can see that he appears to be occupying a sailboat with associates far off behind him. What's important to note here is that this image is a fresco-style painting that was created by an Italian painter of color named Domenico Zampieri between the years of 1628 and 1630. And according to Britannica Encyclopedia, Domenico was one of the, quote, leading practitioners of Baroque classicism in Rome and Bologna. This particular painting was completed during a time period where Domenico's works were considered to be, quote, less acceptable by Rome, falling under heavy criticism by a few powerful dictators, which in turn forced Domenico to become, quote, a victim of systematic persecution. Persecution is synonymous with words like torture, mistreatment, bullying, harassment, or oppression. So in other words, Domenico began painting a lot of images over the years that showcased brown-complexioned Europeans of royalty all throughout Europe and other surrounding islands. And someone or somebodies had issues with these paintings becoming more and more favorable over time for some strange reason, which eventually led to many of his paintings being reproduced by select artists to favor pale-faced individuals as people of royalty in Europe. And this also led to Domenico's sudden death, dying no less than 10 years after publishing his most criticized works at the age of just 59. This fresco-style painting is a depiction of a Spaniard-Italian navigator or explorer, originally known as Cristoforo Colombo of Mula, Spain, but now known as Christopher Columbus of Genoa, Italy. He is dubbed as the discoverer of the Americas. Keep that in mind. Now, you may recall hearing about the story of how Christopher Columbus discovered America by finding himself to be initially lost at sea by inadvertently landing somewhere along the island of Haiti, which was originally known during this time period as Giscaya, meaning mother of all lands, before it was anglicized to become later known as Hispaniola, which is located in the southernmost region of the Americas. I touched on this here. One of the most commonly used statements that will be considered as a fact of opinionated history is that Spanish master navigator and explorer Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492 with help from Moroccan, or rather Iberian servants who were familiar with navigating the waters of the shores. Now, before I go any further, I want you to quickly make note of the word discover and its actual meaning. The word discover is commonly used to reference when something is exposed or made known, for originally it was a secret or hidden to the public, but now all is revealed. So now, if Christopher Columbus allegedly discovered America, that would not mean that he found new lands. No, it simply means that the people who sent him were already aware of these lands' existence, along with its people who were already inhabiting it. This also means that if the Christopher Columbus story that we were all told is actually true, then history and its writers are purposely mistitling his position as a navigator and explorer. Why is this, you ask? Well, since someone gave Christopher Columbus royal permission to be granted access to explore these lands in hopes of immediate relocation and settlement for their people, then that does make Christopher Columbus a discoverer, only because a discoverer originally meant informant during this time period. As the story goes, Christopher Columbus reported back to someone, right? And somehow his alleged story was documented. But it royally fails to mention that the true asterisk by his name should read spy. Now, with all of that being said, this should make you ask some serious questions. Like, why is Christopher Columbus not being presented as a colored European in America right now? Would the original artist of this painting not have an accurate depiction of Chris's skin complexion? Just think about that for a second. Why would some stranger force a skin complexion change of a simple painting? And why would the writers of American history tell Americans their history one way, and everyone else outside of America receives a completely different version? Which version is false and which version is true? During this original video, I explained why this image was shown, or rather broadcast, only to select Asian countries by the History Channel. And I also shared congressional records as to why American history differs in other countries, hence the title of the video. And I highly recommend watching it if you haven't done so already. We are taught about this story concerning Christopher Columbus throughout compulsory educational curriculums that are designed to target and disenfranchise children before they can grow to learn what that historically means for their sake. I'll give you a little hint. It has nothing to do with voting, nor any voting system for that matter. More about that in the next Easter Egg Sunday episode. But I said all of that to say this. Not only was the skin complexion of Christopher Columbus changed over time, so was the skin complexion of the original artist of this painting. Paintings of Domenico himself went from looking like this to now look like this. And as alarming as this may be, it gets a lot deeper, to the point where many other prominent individuals of color who are depicted in various paintings all over the world have been changed to reflect as pale-complexioned people instead. Now, let's just say that the story of Christopher Columbus was true, and we all knew that he carried a brown skin complexion. Does he get a pass for spying on our people in South America that eventually led to the colonization of our lands, just because he shares the same hue of complexion as you and I? Of course not. And this should also give you a better understanding of why I mentioned that the enemy has no skin complexion, simply because the enemy comes in various skin complexions.
Well, listen, y'all heard what he said right there. He tapped in on a whole nother level. Y'all go check out this channel. His name is Dan Calloway, and I want y'all to go check out some of his content. I think his name of his channel is called "I'm Here to Make You Think" or "I'm Just Here to Make You Think." I knew about him for about 6-7 years now, in terms of him writing books, him and his wife, and them coming up with all types of information in regarding to what's been going on, and it's just wild, man. The type of things that we were told, and then could be the whole reverse of a lot. But we live and we learn, don't we? I guess that's part of the process, ain't it? But I'm just talking about things that I feel like y'all should be tapped into a little bit, even if it's 5-10 minutes of your time, just so you can know what's going on, and you're not, overlooking some things that need to be looked at for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Because we all got our things that we got going on. Make no question about that, but things could be a lot worse for us, and we're just trying to learn how to make the best of the situations.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has...
Oh, shit. So now it's time to get into breaking news with Mr. Combs. Here we go, y'all.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul. His attorney tells CNN that he is currently being processed. The charges are unclear as of this moment. Joining us now is CNN's entertainment reporter Elizabeth Wagmeister, and also with us CNN chief legal correspondent Ellie Honig. Elizabeth, you were a big part of revealing some details about Diddy's conduct in private over the course of the last couple of months. That video led to a lot more scrutiny on what he has been accused of. What do we know at this point about what this case might ultimately be about?
Abby, at the moment, we don't know what the charges are. I have information that he was arrested tonight at a Manhattan hotel. He is currently being processed. I heard from his attorney, they are still maintaining his innocence. They said that in anticipation of these charges that Diddy relocated to New York last week. And here's a statement that I have from his attorney. He says, "We are disappointed with the decision to pursue what we believe is an unjust prosecution of Mr. Combs by the U.S. Attorney's Office." He goes on to say that he is an imperfect person, but is not criminal. Now, Abby, that video that you just spoke about was a few months ago when our team broke this disturbing video of Diddy violently assaulting his ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, better known as the singer, her stage name, Cassie. Now, up until this point, when we broke this video, Diddy had denied the allegations against him. Cassie is one of 10 civil suits against Diddy, 9 of which he is accused directly of sexually assault. Up until that video, he denied everything. After that video came out, he changed his tone. He apologized for his conduct in that video. But I have to tell you, Abby, just as of last week, a former member of Danity Kane, which was one of the bands from Making the Band, Diddy's show that was on MTV, she sued him for sexual assault and other disturbing allegations, and he denied that. So he continues the denials, and he still maintains his innocence, even though he has been arrested tonight.
And Ellie, not a huge amount of information available tonight, but Elizabeth brought up something that I want you to give us a little bit of insight into. Diddy is here in New York, in Manhattan. He apparently came here in anticipation that something like this might happen. What should we understand about what that might mean? It could very well be that this is a federal arrest being processed here in New York.
So, Abby, there are some important things we do not know, including the specific charges that have been lodged against Sean Combs. But there are some really important things we do know. First of all, based on the attorney's statement, based on our reporting, this is a federal prosecution. It's not a state prosecution. The fact that he's being processed in Manhattan tells me that's the Southern District of New York. That's consistent with the reporting that the Southern District of New York had been handling this case. That's the office I used to work at. That's an office that sort of specializes in high stakes cases. Just in the last year or so, Southern District of New York, just as an example, has successfully prosecuted Sam Bankman-Fried, Senator Robert Menendez. The other thing that we do know is a grand jury has indicted Sean Combs, meaning they found probable cause that he committed at least one federal crime. Now, as to what happens next, there will be, likely tomorrow or within the next couple of days, but usually in the SDNY, you try to do it the next day, there will be an arraignment, meaning Sean Combs will appear in court with his lawyers. There are no cameras in federal court. He will be advised of the charges against him, and he will almost certainly enter a not guilty plea. But the key thing to watch for is then we'll have the question of bail. Will prosecutors agree to let him out on bail? Will prosecutors ask the judge to lock him up pending trial? That could end up in a contentious argument. So these are things that are going to play out over the next 24 or 48 hours. And finally, Abby, with respect to the charges themselves, it's important to note, we've all seen that video, but assault and sexual assault are not federal crimes. Those are prosecuted in state court. So what I expect to see when we see this indictment is some sort of crime with some element of organization to it, sex trafficking, something along those lines, if it's based on some of the allegations we've heard.
And of course, back in March, his homes in LA and in Miami were raided. All of this leading up to this moment. Elizabeth and Ellie, a lot more to this story will be coming up in the coming days and weeks. Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy.
Well, I don't really got too much to say, y'all. I mean, it's self-explanatory at this point. Let's just be aware of the company we keep, man. You see what's happening with Diddy and everybody disappearing now. All the people that was around him and enabling him with this shit, whatever's going on, allegedly, whatever it may be. A lot of people on top of him is going to come down to this. This is not just a one-person thing. This is some ringmaster type shit that we dealing with here. At least that's what I believe. But either way, we're gonna see how the cookie crumbles. And I just want to get on here and chop it up with y'all about what's going on. Can't turn on no TV or see any blog without Diddy's name in it right now, and it's annoying. But at the same time, I kind of feel bad for him. A lot of people don't give a shit. They don't care. I do. I mean, he represents New York. They gave him the key to the city. It's just a sad thing to see this shit crumble right before our eyes. Somebody who we looked up to at some point in time because of the hip-hop culture, somebody that we've been inspired to be at some point, you know. Whether that was a business, the businessman he was, or the performer, whatever you want to do. He inspired a lot of people in positive ways. Of course, it's unfortunate that we're hearing all of this stuff now, but there's always stories. Everything is just unfolding. And it's coming quicker than we think. So, be on the lookout, I guess, for whatever. I want y'all to put the comments below on what you think about the situation. If you got something to say about it, if not, cool. Either way, yeah, man, I don't think enough people feel bad for him, but I guess it doesn't matter anymore. I do got sympathy enough to feel bad for him because of the fact that I grew up on him, watching him, grew up on people around me liking him and their ways and stuff like that. So it's just sad to see the crumble of this organization, whatever the fuck he got going on. But we all better learn from all of these situations that we are seeing with celebrities, with everybody. Let's learn from everything and continue to move forward, y'all. And this is just another episode of Talk About It TV, so we can chop it up. I'll try to keep it under a half so y'all know what time it is. Till next time, peace, love, and chicken grease. but only if you want me. Now you know I gotta leave. Motherfucker, so peace.